Welcome. This is our public comment meeting. My name is Linda Bridwell. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Service Commission. We have a short presentation where I'll go over just a little bit about the Public Service Commission and our responsibilities. Then I'll turn it over to Mariah Tussey, who is one of our attorneys who will talk about the case itself and what is being proposed. And then Commissioner Regan is here tonight. She will be running the public comment period of the meeting. So we'll go over a little bit over the ground rules and then we'll adjourn. So we are taping it. It is not being live streamed in case anybody was a little nervous about that. So the purpose of this is the public comment meeting for the Kentucky Power application for a certificate of convenience and necessity. Its case number is 2022-236. So if you are interested in supplying additional or asking any questions, you need to make sure that you have that case number. As we go through, as I said, I will introduce you a little bit to the Public Service Commission and what our responsibilities are to the public, the process for the applications, and then Mariah will talk about the project, and then I'll go over a little bit about just the process tonight on making comments. So just to give you an idea, and I'm going to step so I can see just a little bit about this. The Public Service Commission is an independent agency. It is actually a three-member commission. Those commissioners are all appointed by the governor. They serve in staggered terms. Currently, we have one vacancy, so we only have two commissioners, but they are appointed by the governor, but then they are confirmed by the Senate, and they are the commission. They make the decisions. They are the ruling agency. The staff is there to support them and to support the utilities and the public as far as the cases go. So our mission, just so you can see it here, is to foster the provision of safe and reliable utility service. That's really what we're doing. We're regulating the rates and the service of utilities in the state of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We regulate 1,100 jurisdictional utilities, but when we say that, that includes some of the telephone and that we really just do we do not regulate rates and service for telephone. There are some cooperative telephone, but the majority of this are small water districts, water and sewer utilities. There are investor-owned water utilities, investor-owned electrics, such as Kentucky Power, the electric co-ops, and a few rural telephone co-ops, and the gas companies. We do not regulate municipal utilities. So every once in a while, I got a call yesterday about a city utility, and I just had to say, I'm sorry, you'll have to talk to the mayor, the city commission. The Public Service Commission does not regulate municipal utilities. So I want to talk a little bit about what a certificate of convenience and public convenience and necessity is. We shorten it usually as a CPCN, or a certificate is what we'll call it. No utility that is jurisdictional under the Public Service Commission may engage in any construction for any facilities without getting prior approval from the Public Service Commission. Now, what happens if they do? There are a couple things. Sometimes they may not be allowed to include it in rates. There are some penalties and fines that may be involved, but that is really what has to happen is that the utility will come to the commission, file an application, and then the commission will review it, evaluate it, and then make a ruling on it. There is an exception for extensions in the ordinary course of business or replacement of exact things. There are a few exceptions also for water districts, but since we're here tonight to talk about an electric utility and their application, I won't go into all of that. The criteria, and Mariah will talk a little bit more about the detail about the legal standard that is reviewed, but basically the staff is reviewing and providing recommendations to the commission based on the need for the project. Is it necessary was there a review of other alternatives that could be accomplished the same thing? A cost-benefit analysis, is it the most cost-effective for the customers and the utility? And then the preference is generally for a least cost. Not always, but sometimes most likely for the least cost. So I want to go over some ground rules for tonight's meeting. The purpose of it is just to take public comment. So as I said, this is a quasi-judicial agency, so we Most of utilities and stakeholders and parties to the case do file testimony. They will present written testimony if there are oral testimony if there is a hearing, there is an opportunity for cross-examination by any of the lawyers in the case. So tonight's purpose is just to take public comment. It is to come to Pike County and allow any of the public who want to comment on the project to come and talk about it. Each speaker will have a limited time limit. It looks like we don't have a large crowd tonight, so I will let Commissioner Regan, who will be taking the comments tonight, she can decide how long, but it's usually 5 to 10 minutes at most that we will have. Kentucky Power will not engage in any, they're not making a presentation and they're not answering questions formally from the public. There are representatives from Kentucky Power here, and if they would like to talk to you afterwards, you are more than welcome to approach them. Hopefully if they have any if you have any questions that they are able to answer, that they will do that. But this is not a presentation where there are questions from the audience. This is the hardest one, is that the commission will not engage in a dialogue tonight. So our purpose is to listen to the public and hear public comments. But because of the judicial nature of this proceeding, it's like going into court and having a back and forth with the judge. You just don't do that. So the Commissioner Regan is here not to engage in a dialogue, not to answer questions, but to hear and listen to comments. So I just want to answer that, or emphasize that as we go forward. So a formal hearing has not been set, and it may not occur since there are no interveners in this, but if there is a formal hearing, we will have it in Frankfort at the commission office at a later date, and we will require Kentucky Power to publicize that. Up until that time, you can make public comments in the case. You can also come to the public hearing, and if we have one, the formal hearing, and make public comments at the hearing itself. So as long as you, again, as I talked about the case number, you can even send an email or a letter. It just has to have the case number, your name and address, and then that way it goes into the record and it's publicly available. So with that, are there any questions about what I've talked about? Or any questions about the process tonight? Okay, so with that, I'm gonna let Mariah come up and make a short presentation about the project itself, of what the Public Service Commission has in the application. And then Commissioner Regan will open the floor for public comment.
Okay. As Linda said, my name's Mariah Tussey, and I think that I got everybody signed in who is not here as part of the commission or part of Kentucky Power's group. But if I missed anybody and you all need to sign in later, please just let me know. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights of the project. Now, the summary of the project came from the application that Kentucky Power filed, and you can find it on our website, which I'm going to show you all how to search the website. But the biggest part is that they are going to retire a large section of transmission line and build new line, which I believe is what at least one party here is interested in, is the proposed route for the new transmission line. And I included the topographical maps. All of the maps for the case were also filed with the application and are available on our website. I'm not sure how detailed the ones were with the notice, but there are several. These include You can kind of see the height of the landscape. And then there was some additional ones as part of the routing studies that were included with the application that can be found on the website as well. But this gives the overall project view of the proposed route for the new transmission line. And then as part of the commission's processing of the case, the commission issued a procedural schedule order. And in this case, they extended the 90-day statutory deadline to 120 days. So the application was accepted in September. And then as a result, the statutory due date with the extension ends up being January 6th. So the commission has until January 6, 2023 to issue an order approving or denying the CPCN in this case. There are some significant dates there, and I'll just probably hit on the last two. Linda mentioned that a hearing has not been set in this case. However, Kentucky Power has until December 9th to ask that the case be submitted on the record, or if for some reason the commission feels like they need to have a hearing, we will set a hearing prior to the January 6th date. The legal standard, Linda had mentioned, the applicant must demonstrate a need and an absence of wasteful duplication. Without I don't want to necessarily read the slides because I know that you all can read those, but it's the applicant's burden in each case when requesting a CPCN to prove that Kentucky Power in this case has a need for the project, and that includes each portion of the project that they're requesting the certificate for, and then a lack of wasteful duplication. In the analysis of these, there are several factors, including the alternative routes considered and the cost and expenses associated with the proposed project. But it all comes down to a balancing factor. But this is what I wanted to hit on, because most members of the public, they have access to Wi-Fi, but sometimes our website is a little bit hard to use. So if you go to the main page of our website, you can go up to, there's a bar under the Kentucky Public Service Commission. It says Commission Records. If you click on Commission Records, you can go and search, and there's a wide variety of things that you can find on our website. But in this case, if you were looking for the application or the maps that I've shown you earlier, you go to cases, and then it says search all cases. And you would click on the search all cases, and in the next screen, you would enter the number for this particular case, which is 2022-236, and then put filter. You can go down and push filter instead of search, is what ours says. And then you will have a page, and everything that has been filed for the public to see in this case is listed there, and you can open it as a PDF. You can download it, you can review all of that. And then there's a little yellow folder there, in this case, because this is an actual screenshot of what it looked like earlier this week. End of last week. The little yellow folder will say public comments, and all the public comments that have been filed in this case can be found there. And then sometimes there's other, like if there's any post-case filings or things like that, there'll be another manila folder. But you can access all of that information on that particular page. So I think that was the overview I had of the filings. And I will turn it over to Commissioner Regan.
Ready? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Mary Pat Reagan. I'm the Commissioner of the Kentucky Public Service Commission. This meeting is being recorded for the benefit of the public, the record, and in order for the other commissioner to review and consider. This is a matter of electronic application of Kentucky Power Company for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct 69 kV transmission lines and associated facilities in Pike County, Kentucky. We are here today to take public comments in the case of the request for certificate of public convenience and necessity made by Kentucky Power Company. To reiterate the point that Linda made during the overview, the role and obligation of the PSC is to ensure the request is needed and does not result in wasteful duplication. We understand in any proceeding that there are strong feelings and opinions. We ask that you provide comments today that you are respectful and also mindful of the time limit for each speaker. We are here to listen. The utility is not representing during the public comment meetings, and neither are the interveners in this case. The utility and the other parties have their opportunity to make their case during the pendency of this matter. This is an opportunity for customers of the utility and to the public to state their positions, concerns, and provide the Commission comments for its consideration. Again, the Commission is here to listen. During today's comment sessions, I will not be answering any questions. The Commission is the fact finder and decision maker in this case, and as such, the Commissioners are unable to comment or speak to the process or substance of the pending application. Nevertheless, questions you raise during your comments may be well of assistance to the Commission and staff in adjudicating this matter. If you have any questions for the utility or the parties in this case, you may ask them during this public meeting with the anticipation that these entities can later convey an appropriate answer outside of this public meeting. Contact information for the company can be received by calling the Kentucky Public Service Commission and speaking to our staff at 502-564-3940. Given the number of participants that have initially indicated their interest in providing comments, you can have 5 to 10 to 15 minutes today. As always, written comments may be made to the Commission and at any time during the consideration of the case, and must include your name, address, and state the case number 2022-00236. And those comments can be mailed to the PSC or emailed to psc@ky.gov, sorry. And so when you speak, please provide your name and address prior to your questions and comments. And we will begin taking comments now. I think the first person I have on the list is Charles Stump. Any comments? Nothing? Okay, Pauline Stump?
Well, I don't understand. She said we weren't supposed to say nothing. Then you asked me to say something, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Oh, okay. Do you have any comments or concerns?
Yes, I have a lot of concerns because I just don't understand how they want to run the lines.
Okay. Okay, and then we, Matt Hager?
No comment, thank you.
Okay. So no one has any comments? Concerns? Okay, if no one else would like to comment at this time, we'll adjourn this meeting. Remember, you may submit written comments to the Commission by mailing them or emailing them. And be sure to reference the case number 2022-00236. This meeting is adjourned.